just with the way that they use Sabonis and how they're going to just try to kind of fly guys around the perimeter. What are some challenges for y'all tonight, and what are some ways that you guys can combat that?
Some of the challenges are playing against a great team with a great player like Sabonis, and we're gonna have to challenge that we're gonna have to work against that challenge by playing with all five. It's gonna come down to everybody trying to work together to contain what they're trying to do on the offensive end, and then working together on our offensive end to do the same thing. So
Against Cleveland, you guys really moved them. They're a big defense, huge presence in the lane. Obviously, Sabonis can provide that as well. What were some keys to being able to move the floor the way that you all did?
I think it just comes down to our play style, how we want to play, and playing to our identity. We got a lot of really skilled players who can shoot the ball as well as dribble and play in space. So that's what we're looking for out there. We're trying to get each other in space and just make reads out of that. And I feel like we've done a good job of that so far. We got to keep it going.
I want to ask you also about your spin move in the lane. You seem to do a really nice job of protecting the ball with that. What's gone into just kind of working on that move and making sure you're not getting stripped?
Messing it up a few times and then really working on it, figuring it out. I feel like I've done a good job, but it can still be better, so I'm gonna keep working on it.
Mark's been really complimentary of the way that you kind of come and fit in with the team instead of I guess coming in as top picks. I guess sometimes can do and want to I gotta get my numbers type thing. How much of an emphasis? How much did you think about that? Talk about that over the last year as you thought about yourself actually playing for the team?
At the end of the day, I've always just been somebody who's trying to win basketball games, and trying to make it by myself isn't gonna help this team be the best team it can be. So, I'm going out there and trying to win basketball games each night, and that's the main focus, and it's going to continue to be that.
Chet, Mark also mentioned the word gratitude, talking about the journey you've been through, what happened last year. And normally, to me, that's a word that you hear with older players. You play the game a long time, you start appreciating what it means to you. Does it change for you the way you've attacked this season at all? What happened last year, what you fought through, the not having the game, did that change your wiring and your?
No, not at all. I've always had gratitude. I've always been thankful to play basketball and have it be my livelihood. Whether I got hurt or not, I was gonna wake up, feeling blessed and happy to play basketball every day. So it's kind of the same attitude for me.
To that point, what's the level of I guess, enjoyment so far this year? When you get on this NBA floor, you now see every single night that you do have what it takes to be who you are out there. Is that pretty fulfilling?
Oh yeah, 100%. 10 out of 10 level of enjoyment.
You're shooting the ball really well, and Coach really said that you have a really good shot diet. You're taking the right ones out there on the floor. What's working for you in the looks that you are getting, and what do you like about the looks and opportunities you've gotten out there?
I'm just taking what the game gives me. The game tells you what to do almost every single night, and as long as you're aggressive within that, you tend to find the right looks, whether it's a shot for yourself or a pass to a teammate. It just comes down to reading the game.
Any extra to this game since it's a tournament game?
I wouldn't say extra. Like we're coming out every single night trying to win every single game, and we're bringing that same focus tonight, same energy tonight. It just happens to be a in-season tournament game. Still don't really know how it works, but we're just trying to win these games.
I think you had 24 points on 9 shots in the Warriors game. Are you how much are you looking at efficiency numbers?
It's huge. Getting 30 points on 35 shots, doesn't make you a great scorer. You know what I'm saying? So, just trying to really make my looks count, and knowing that the more efficient you are, the better chance you have at winning a basketball game. So. I'm just really trying to take advantage of the opportunities that I'm given and, make the most of them.
It seems like it sometimes takes players a while to kind of zero in on efficiency. How early in basketball playing life did you kind of care about shooting percentage or, number of shots, number of points?
My whole life, early on, stats aren't, kept super accurately and stuff. But, ever since I've played and at levels where stats have been taken accurately. I've always been an efficient player. I've always taken the right shots and been aggressive within that. And that's just kind of how I play, and I'm gonna continue to do that, and you know, continue to work on my game as well so that I can expand my array of efficient shots.
Sean, apologies if you've been asked about this 100 times this season, but Rookie of the Year, I just wonder how important is it to you? And within that, is it nice to know, as we've seen early on, that you can be really productive and have a hell of a line within that team concept and not have to push like Mark talked about?
Yeah, we got a game at 7 o'clock tonight, so that's what I'm focused on and trying to win that game, and that's going to be my focus coming into every single game day, and outside of that, I don't have a whole lot of time for other things to worry about like that. I'm focused on winning these games and helping my teammates out.
What stands out to you about this Sacramento team, their strengths and some of the challenges they present?
Obviously they got a great big in Sabonis, another Gonzaga guy, and they really pace and space the floor around him, and he's great at finding teammates and then also scoring the basketball himself inside. So it's going to be a team effort to contain him and to really key in on what they want to do as a team and figure out how to come out on top.
Mark, we saw Chet kind of adjust mid-game last game in terms of coming up high in the screen and then being able to get back to the role. And he's had different matchups obviously throughout this year. I'm curious what the challenges that Sabonis poses with Chet specifically.
He poses a challenge for all of us, but Chet's doing a good job of he's got to critically think, just like I just talked about with the post doubles. His depth on his screen in pick and roll defense is different based on where the ball is and who has the ball. And he's done a really good job of that so far. He's moved himself up and back and kind of toggled between those. Jay Will did it last game a couple times where he went super high because of his skill set. So, those are things that we're trying to encourage these guys to think critically about and that they'll develop over time, and they're off to a good start with it.
Mark, more of a big picture Chet question. If you go back to the injury last year, the mental side that comes with fighting through that, missing out on your rookie year, and the way he's playing now, just what have you seen from him in the journey? And he's obviously attacking things now. What have you learned about the young guy?
Well, it definitely strained him because he's never, in his conscious life, he's never not had basketball. And he's, one thing I've learned about him, he's a very energetic person, just off the court, on the court. And basketball is a great outlet for that energy that he didn't have last year. And he couldn't even, work out fully at the beginning of that. So it really tested him. And I give him a lot of credit for the fortitude that he showed, and the discipline that he showed to the program and got himself back to a great place. I think he has a new level of gratitude for the game now that he has gone without it for that long. I'm happy for him that he's back out there and he's off to a great start, not just in terms of his production, but in terms of his approach and doing all that inside of our team, which was a huge emphasis for not only him, but for everybody.
Is Wallace a little bit readier than you thought he would be as quickly? I know that was kind of the appeal of him in some ways, but is he readier?
I don't know. We try not to have expectations. I started him in the first preseason game, so he showed enough in training camp that that he was at least capable of that. We just kind of put the hurdles in front of him. It's like, hey, let's just get the base foundation done. And when they clear that, we just kind of progress them, and they kind of dictate the speed that you do that with. And he happens to be moving through that pretty quickly. And so we're unleashing him in a lot of different situations as a result of that. I knew he'd be pretty good. The one area that he surprised me where I didn't know he was quite this good is on the point of attack guys. I thought that would take a lot more time than it's taken. And he has his possessions where, he's fouling those guys. He's fouling those guys at the end of the Cleveland game because he's not quite squared up on them. And he's definitely not perfect there, but he's way further along on the ball, on the main guys than I thought he'd be.
Is he more advanced defensively than many rookies that you've seen?
Yeah, way ahead.
He's shooting the ball well offensively as well.
Jason?
Yeah. And I'm curious if you've seen anything in terms of his shot diet. All of his threes are assisted so far this year. Just what stands out about the shot diet?
Yeah, taking good ones. He's taking good shots for the most part. He just lets the game tell him what to do. I've said before, he's not pretentious, so he's not out there playing for the box score or with any sort of agenda on a possession. The last possession doesn't really influence him very much. He just plays the game, which, when you talk about being advanced. That level of maturity is a level of consciousness some players never get to, that he's walking in with. So we're obviously really fortunate that he's got that.
Mark, speaking of the shots that people are getting, if you look at the shots Josh is, a lot of the shots he's missing, it's stuff around the rim. It's pretty open jump shots. Are you comfortable that if he keeps getting the stuff he's getting, that stuff's going to fall?
Yeah, and some of them are, he's had some shots blocked, and some of them have been contested. And I think that's where confidence comes from. It doesn't come from the ball going in, but it comes from knowing what shots you're going to take and what shots you aren't. So in terms of what he can control, it's just continuing to stay disciplined to taking the good ones. Just because he's gotten off to a slow start, not trying to force anything outside of that, and just trusting your work and trusting that diet. And if he does that, he's going to be fine. I mean, he's got an illustrious body of work as a really, really good offensive player. So we're not going to overreact to the numbers. But if the process becomes tainted and he's trying to, do things that, are imposing himself on the game to try to get himself going, that's where we'll get a little more antsy.
What sort of challenges does a DHO heavy, fairly freelance offense present to you guys defensively?
I think it's different. There's a few teams, Golden State, Denver, that are pretty heavy in this, where you get like a high dosage when you play those teams. Most other teams aren't. So it's a little bit of a special preparation in that, we don't see this every night at the volume that they do it with. And then the shooting gravity of the guys they do it with are obviously potent. It'd be a lot easier to guard if you could just kind of be late and slide underneath, and you really can't do that with this team. It really gets their pace going. It allows Sabonis to be a dual threat because he's a threat as a passer and handler, and also a threat, obviously, as a scorer. That's why they're good.
Any extra emphasis at all with this being a tournament game?
No, I mean, we're just treating it not because it's not important, but because all of them are.
Any thoughts on the court?
It looks great. Couldn't be happier with it. Matt Tummelson just told me, here's a Matt Tummelson intel for you, for all the people that are fans of him. He's colorblind, and he thinks the court looks pink.
Gotcha. All right.
Little known fact about Matt Tummelson.
True.
Any other questions about Matt Tummelson?
Make it uncomfortable.
It's not hard. Anything else? What
Bears? Last thing, Coach. You can't obviously speak for Chet, but I wonder, and this is a few days down the road, you got that game on Tuesday. He seems to be inherently an extremely competitive guy. And then you add in the level of hype around Victor.
Yep.
And the fact that it seems a little bit like folks forgot that last year Chet was the guy that we were all waiting on. Any sense of whether that drives him even more this year?
I hope not, because I would hope that his drive is coming from more internal places like that. That would be my guess, that's where his drive's coming from. It's also important. He's done an unbelievable job of staying inside the team and allowing, his success to come inside the team and not at the expense of other players. That's a challenge that really, really good players have, that I think our guys have done a good job with. He's done a great job with so far. Distractions like that, if you're a good player or you're a good team, distractions like that are plentiful. And you got to be able to cut through them and stay focused on what's important. And so far, he's done a really good job of that. But obviously, Tuesday, with all the noise that'll be around that game, will present another opportunity for him to test that.
Mark, I am curious. I think as of the other night, Chet and Case were both top 3 in the league in terms of 3-point percentage. Obviously, you want to temper your expectations, but what are the conversations like with those guys in terms of, expectations and sustainability throughout the year and whatnot?
Same thing I said about Josh, with his shot diet. Same thing Paris referenced with Case and shot diet. I mean, we're just trying to help our guys understand what a great shot is for them and for the team that allow them to be impactful and efficient players. And as long as they're shooting those shots, then we'll be able to ride with them through the down periods. And also, I think it gives you something process-oriented to point to when they're shooting it well, like right now, because they're both getting great shots.
Just having to a few teams that have played you, they talk about the uniqueness of the guard-to-guard screens.
Yep.
And defending that. How big is that, emphasis, and can you tell that that's such a challenge for other teams?
Yeah, I mean, definitely could tell it's a challenge. I think not everybody, just like this team with the off-ball movement, like they're leveraging Golden States like this. They leverage their shooting gravity with that. And we have unique shooting gravity at the 5. With Chet, Jalen Williams, all the 5s on our roster, and the fact that we'll downsize at times with the 5s. And so that skill allows us to invert the floor and put the 5s on the perimeter and put guards in screening action. And then it's another way to engage multiple playmakers because we've got a lot of guards that can handle the ball and that can make plays, but they all can't have the ball at once. But if you put two of them in an action together, depending on what the defense does, you may be able to find one of them in the pocket. And now one of them was the creator initially, one of them's the creator on the secondary part of the play, and then you've got bigs that can shoot it on the perimeter. We're just trying to leverage our roster with that.
And you have defenders that aren't running those actions for sure.
We're choosing matchups with that. There's definitely that element to it too. But if you don't have the shooting gravity of the fives, teams can mask it with other schemes. It all works together for us.